cuts down on the things to do. No, it could be one of three.
Yeah.
Well, you can get that recorded and listen to that at home. If you have a CD player, you know that. Faith,
Well, yeah, Faith Talk, I know is recorded.
yeah.
Yeah, well, that's where it's gonna be. It's going to be however Doug does it.
Mhm.
Well, he does it with video. He does.
Is that what he does?
Yeah, he does it with video and audio.
Well,
But that's
mine will be
recorded up there
audio.
too. The Prophet's is recorded.
Yeah, but you have to ask for a CD.
Ask my husband. I can
Yeah.
ask him for you.
Yeah,
Okay.
There you go.
I have a
I had to ask
connection.
him, yeah.
Yes,
And he gave me one.
You guys. I have a connection.
Did you start it?
yes.
Oh, okay. Then let's begin with prayer. Dear Jesus, we thank you that you, the creator of all, became a human. And in doing that, you brought us eternal life. Thank you, as the sermon talked about, you're totally divine, totally human, and you're in humility. You gave your life. Bless us as we try to learn from the works of C.S. Lewis and help that to increase our ability to learn, but to serve you better. Amen.
Amen.
Today's session is getting reacquainted with Jack. Because when you leave, we'll give the book that we're going to use.
Getting reacquainted with
Jack.
Jack.
C.S. Lewis. His
Oh!
friends called him Jack.
I see, okay, I didn't know who Jack was. Thank you.
Why don't you do introductions?
Oh, let's do introductions. We'll start with you.
I'm Carol Pennington. Is that all?
And she's a good friend of ours.
Oh,
Also.
they invite us to dinner.
And she's married to the CD guy.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
I have connections.
Yeah, he is.
Well, I'm Louis Neuroeder, and I'm not a good friend of anybody's.
Oh. Nobody's friend.
Well, we're glad you're here.
Well, thanks.
I'm Mary Applegate.
And talks to anyone. I'm Brian Hanson, and very good friends of the Applegates in Florida. We're from Minnesota, and
We're here for a few days on fire.
I mean, you have no Lancaster connections other than the Applegates.
That's right.
We become good friends in Florida, and we go to the same church down there, and we sing together. and
Yes,
Good.
I am on. I told them.
Really?
already. I said, the reason I'm on the worship team is that I'm Barb's friend. Not talent. All right.
I'm Tony Applegate. I
Oh.
drive Mary here.
Driving Miss
I
Katie.
drive,
I
yeah,
saw that.
drive Miss Mary.
What we'll be doing this session is we will be using the book, The Voyage of the Dawn Treader. And we will read no more than 2 or 3 chapters a week. And then when we come in, the study guide will have quotes from his theology books. Like this one today, we have one of his books called Four Loves. The other is his spiritual autobiography, Surprised by Joy. And so what we'll do is start the session with a summary of the two or three chapters we've read, and then get to the study guide. And there will be quotes, and we'll discuss the theological element, but then say, where'd you see it in the story? And not only what you do an awful lot is see C.S. Lewis's life jumping in those stories. So that's why today we're going to start with highlights from his life that are significant in terms of this book. So, Tone, you want to do that one?
Sure. This is from the four loves.
Yeah.
In words which can still bring desolation, into which the death of his friend Nebridius plunged him. And that's from his confessions. Then he draws a moral. This is what comes, he says, of giving one's heart to anything but God. All human beings pass away. Do not let your happiness depend on something you may lose. If love is to be a blessing, not a misery, it must be for the only beloved who will never pass away. Of
That
course,
should have had a
that's-
quote there.
That's, yeah, and then here's Jack. Of course, this is excellent sense. Don't put your goods in a leaky vessel. Don't spend too much on a house you may be turned out of. And there is no man alive who responds more naturally to such canny maxims. I am a safety friend makes so strong an appeal to my nature as careful. This may lead you to suffering.
I thought it was guaranteed.
It is.
It says Mike.
Yeah, he wasn't married yet.
Oh.
No, he wasn't married.
Oh.
But he was with, Joy was helping him do
Yeah.
some of his writing at this point.
So not to my conscience, it's to my nature, my temperament. When I respond to that appeal, I seem to myself to be 1,000 miles away from Christ. If I'm sure of anything, when I respond to that appeal,
I seem to myself to be
I read that. If I'm sure of anything, I'm sure that his teaching was never meant to confirm my congenital preference for safe investments and limited liabilities. I doubt whether there's anything in me that pleases him less. And who could conceivably begin to love God on such a prudential ground? Because the security, so to speak, referring the beloved to happiness is more like love himself than this.
All right, what are your reactions to that?
I think you're spot on when you say that, love leads to suffering. There's no getting away from it. And there, in some respects, it sounds strange, but in some respects, they're opposite sides of the coin. If you give yourself to someone, you make yourself vulnerable, and it's inevitable that someone's going.
Yeah, but his thesis that God wouldn't appreciate you loving him because it's the prudent thing to do. Peculiar thought.
He's saying you don't stay away from love. I think what Lewis is saying, stay away from love because it's going to hurt you. And
No,
that's
Augustine said that,
yeah, but Lewis is saying
that
I
by
do
nature.
that. That's my nature. But when I do it, I seem to myself to be really dead wrong. And I think he's right.
And I think you could see it in his life, because he kept people at a distance, except friends. He had the inklings, and they all studied and read together. Tolkien was one of them. But in terms of love, no, that was something that he feared. And the interesting thing is, when he met Joy Davidman, and she eventually moved to London, they did become very good friends. She fell in love with him, but he was keep away. And it wasn't until she was diagnosed with cancer and told that she might not live, that he cried and married right in, because he admitted love.
Oh, was that late?
Yes, he didn't until she was diagnosed and ready to die. And fortunately, he did pray. He brought a friend of his Peter,
Right.
Peter Bide to pray for her. And she was healed. And they had a happy life for 3 years. And then the cancer came back. And she died. And that's when he wrote that book of Grief Observed. And that, when somebody loses a loved one, we always offer it as to read, because the pain that he went through after she passed, it really is heart-wrenching.
So do you think his being averse to love had to do with his childhood and his,
Mhm.
I think so,
you know, his
Right.
relationship with his,
with his father,
with his father?
yeah.
Well, he was in a boarding school, right, and had problems there, if I remember.
Mm-hmm. And what this next B is to put some highlights of his life. So somebody read bulletin 1.
September 1960, is that what you want me to do?
Yes,
September 1960, The Four Loves was published. And keep going.
just one more,
Okay.
read 2.
April 1956, he had married Joy. Most interestingly, she had worked with him in writing the book, The Four Loves.
So notice that in 56, they married. In 60, he's writing 4 loves. So it's a past. This is admitting how he felt in his past, that he was a safety first guy. All right, so now the next bulletin is April 60. So that was April, May, June, July, August. 5 months later, Four Loves is published. So even though it's published after her death, it was written while they were together. And she was involved in helping him write this.
And
Was it finished before they were married or after?
During, while they were married.
It was written largely while they were married, and to me, it seemed like a kind of a natural progression. You know, when you really recognize that you've fallen in love with someone, it would be natural kind of an intellectual exercise to just examine what's the nature of this thing
Yes.
that I'm feeling. And cooperation between the two of them. She was an awfully sharp cookie in her own right. She was a really very much an intellectual.
She was converted through reading his books.
Uh-huh.
She was Jewish and was a very strong. She was married to a person who who was a movie director in Hollywood.
In Hollywood?
Yeah, what was it? What David?
David then, but he was a screenwriter.
A screenwriter,
Very, very successful.
very successful.
But also very alcoholic and
Oh.
abusive.
Yes. And they had 2 children, Doug and David. Now, David Gresham was raised by C.S. Lewis because when Joy died, he kept the children. And
Well, how old were they?
I'm going to say you know what we should do in the last class, we'll have the movie Shadowlands.
Oh, okay.
And you see how young her 2 boys were.
roughly 10.
10 and 12, I think, something like that. 10 and 11. But Douglas Gresham became a very strong Christian believer. He wrote the book called Lenten Lands.
Oh.
And, but David, no, he went back to Judaism. And he wants nothing of his name connected. He's very strong about Jewish.
No, my, that's really complicated.
Yeah,
Joy was the mother of Jack's good friend, right? Oh. Joy, am I getting that?
Joy was the mother of David and Douglas
I
Gresham.
know, but as far as their relationship, I thought Joy was the mother of C.S. Lewis's friend.
Oh, that was,
Counting.
this is more.
Oh,
that
I'm
was-
getting-
Yeah, from his early.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
from his
okay,
early days.
sorry.
But
Yeah,
there was,
Jack had a very complicated life.
oh,
Well, she must have been very patient. I mean, to love somebody that can't love
Yeah,
and try to
absolutely.
teach them that. That takes a lot of patience.
yes,
She pursued him like a leopard,
she did. She went after him.
tracking down.
Wow. There was no
And
guessing
he
there.
was assertive. And
Very good.
Tolkien didn't like at all because she was
Oh,
quite assertive.
okay.
And, but like I said, they became such good friends in his mind. While they were doing all this spiritual writing, you know, and Letters to Malcolm, she was part of writing with him. And that's called Letters to Malcolm, chiefly on prayer. And it's a takeoff because early in his career, he had written screw tape letters.
Right.
So now he turns around and it's Letters to Malcolm, chiefly on prayer. And it's powerful because she had died by then. And there's where he calls God the great iconoclast, who breaks every image you create of him, because he was angry with God, very angry,
Because of his mother's death.
because of his wife's death. He was angry with the
Wait.
mother's death too.
I'm getting a little confused. Who's Malcolm?
Oh,
Oh, it's just a name.
Fictional.
It's a fictional
Yeah.
name.
Fictional, okay, that's not nobody real, all right.
You know what, let's go through these
Big
bullets.
Jack, Malcolm, you know, I mean, you're into these things pretty deeply, but.
Right, I know, you have to watch that. Okay, so let's see where we are. September 60, Four Loves is published. April 56, he married Joy. And at that time, they were both working on the writing of Four Loves. They were also writing other books at the same time. So Joy passed April 6th. Lewis passed November 1963. He began writing Letters to Malcolm early 63. It contains many of the concepts included in A Grief Observed, was posthumously published January 64. 60. Yes. He died the same day Kennedy died.
Oh, do they? Wow.
Yeah.
Wait a
This
minute,
is,
John,
C.S. Lewis died January 19.
that was November, that Kennedy died of.
November 63.
Yeah,
November.
Lewis passed
63.
November 63. Yeah, that's Lewis passed November 63. It was the same day as Kennedy.
Okay.
Okay, now here, let's go down to this one where it says, listen to what Lewis wrote. Somebody read that. Oh, God, God, why don't you read? Oh, God.
Oh God, God, why did you take such trouble to force this creature out of its shell, if it is now doomed to crawl back, to be sucked back into it? Talk to me about the duty of religion and I'll listen submissively, but don't come talking to me about the consolations of religion, or I shall suspect that you don't understand.
And that's how he felt. God was not in his reach. One of the things he said
This is after she died.
after she died, he said, not only did you close the door on me, you double bolted it locked. And that's early in the grief observed. The last journal submission says, you never closed that door on me. I closed it from within. I was like a drowning man who could not be helped. So he has resolved it, and he understands that there are times, and it's his theology. There are times you have the free will to close off from God, and sometimes those are psychological, that you have no idea why you are resisting the Lord's guidance. And life happens.
It was interesting, I think it was 60, it was one of his first books was the Problem of Pain.
Yeah.
I think it was 41. I mean, so it was really early on. And he, of course, wasn't married. And I usually make a joke about this. He had no idea what real pain was because he hadn't been married yet. But the truth is, he really lived through a dimension of pain that he didn't write a lot about. You know, the interlocking between the love of God and suffering. There's no way that any of us can avoid suffering. Either by loving another person or simply by consequence of being born into this world. It's just interwoven into our destiny.
Now, was he a Christian when he married Joy?
Yes.
He was.
Oh, yes.
Okay, and then
When he was 29, he gave up being an atheist and believed in God.
It was in the 40s, right?
It was earlier than the 40s.
Was it?
Yeah, I think.
We must be born.
I'm not good at things. But here's the problem of pain, and this is the one that made him famous in England. That's why he was asked to write the BBC. But listen how the problem of pain starts. Not many years ago, when I was an atheist, if anyone had asked me, why do you not believe in God? My reply would have run something like this. Look at the universe we live in. By far the greatest part of it consists of empty space, completely dark and unimaginably cold. The bodies which move in this space are so few and so small in comparison with the space itself, that even if every one of them were known to be crowded, as full as it could hold with perfectly happy creatures, it would be still difficult to believe that life and happiness were more than a byproduct to the power that made the universe. As it is, scientists think it's likely that few of the suns of space, perhaps none except our own, have any planets, and in our own system, improbable that any planet except the Earth. Then he goes on and he says, not only that, animals live by sort of just killing other animals to survive. And it's a litany, and that is how he believed. He was pessimistic about life. And when he was young.
Well, no wonder the way he was brought up, I can understand that.
Mhm. And here's this next one. Somebody read. This is from Surprised by Joy.
My
Volunteer.
father's people were true Welshmen, sentimental, passionate, and rhetorical, easily moved both to anger and to tenderness, and who laughed and cried a great deal, and who had not much of the talent for happiness. The Hamiltons, mother's family, were a cooler race. Their minds were critical and ironic. They had the talent for happiness in a high degree, went straight for it, as experienced travelers go for the best seat in the train. From my earliest years, I was aware of the vivid contrast between my mother's cheerful and tranquil affection and the ups and downs of my father's emotional life. And this bred in me long before I was old enough to give it a name, and a certain distrust or dislike of emotion as something uncomfortable and embarrassing, even dangerous.
See, you see the connections there? Emotion. And later on, what he will say in our devotional this morning, maybe, love is an act of the will. That's to him. Love is an act of the will. Emotions are feelings that come and go. But love requires the will.
That's not a common belief, is it?
No, but it's his. And I've come to,
And when it says surprised by joy, he's not talking about.
No.
like,
he's talking about Jesus.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, that's the funny thing of it, that it's this, her name is Joy.
Her name is Joy, but
And
it's,
he
you're right.
called,
Could be a double entendre, but it's
Yeah.
not, okay.
but he feels that we're all born with a longing, a longing, and that's longing for true joy. And and we keep searching for that joy. Okay, let's get this other complexity. This is Surprised by Joy in the, somebody read that.
This absence of beauty, now that I come to think of it, is characteristic of our childhood. No picture on the walls of my father's house ever attracted, and indeed none deserved our attention. We never saw a beautiful building nor imagined that a building could be beautiful. My earliest aesthetic experiences, if indeed were that kind, they were already incurably romantic, not formal. Once in those very early days, my brother brought into the nursery of the lid of a biscuit tin, which he had covered with moss and garnished with twigs and flowers, so as to make it a toy garden on or a toy forest. That was the first beauty I ever knew. What the real garden had failed to do, the toy garden did. It made me aware of nature, not indeed as a storehouse of forms and colors, but as something cool, dewy, fresh, exuberant. I do not think the impression was very important at the moment, but it soon became important in memory. As long as I live, my imagination of paradise will retain something of my brother's toy garden.
And this is significant because he focused a great deal on nature. And, you have to die to live, you have to die to live, you have to die to live. All built into nature, the tree has to drop, the seed and it's gotta die to live. And we're watching this caterpillar now, and that's
We're watching what?
It's
a caterpillar. At Willow Valley, we had this big parsley project and everybody has planted parsley
Okay.
and watched for caterpillars to turn into butterflies.
Oh, I bought some of them. I bought 10 of them, 9 of them lived, but it's really an interesting process, isn't it?
Yes,
We call them the kids.
yeah,
We check in on the kids every day, every morning, at least 5 times a day. And the tragedy of it all is that one of the kids flew the coop.
yeah.
Oh, you missed it.
And
So
you know
Mary's
what?
been in the morning ever since.
Well, Lena, I have to tell you this. First of all, we lost him and couldn't find him. And so Barb, I said, come on out and look, see if you can see him. I can't see him. Barb walks out, she's looking around. There, the doggone thing is climbing up the wall, the side of our patio. So I said, okay, I'm gonna get him. So I try to get him and I dropped him and we're on.
2 stories down.
Oh, that's right, you
I
are.
ran down there.
Oh,
No, it was the caterpillar.
I didn't know it was 2 stories.
Can they tolerate a fall?
It fell.
But it's okay.
I went down and I found him.
He said, the woman's gonna treat me like this.
I'm running away.
She crawled in the rocks in her white pants until she found that caterpillar.
And I prayed too. I
Good job.
really did.
But
But
Well, this is all about no beauty, or some beauty, or something.
yeah, I think what he's saying here is. It's not nice to say, but he's saying that his home life was nothing that brought him a lot of beauty.
The walls were plain, bare necessities, I guess.
But beauty's in the beholder, right?
Yeah.
Me, his
And,
problem.
right, but again, because we did, when he was 9. His mother was diagnosed with cancer. He remembers all the doctors coming in and everything. And, she passed. He went there and prayed for her while she was sick.
That's right.
He prayed, because keep in mind, he was trained very religious, Church of England. And so he prayed for her to be healed. She wasn't. She died. He went and prayed for her again to be raised from the dead. And she died. He says in his book, people think that contributed to my atheism. He said, but it didn't, because in his view, it didn't. He said, all God was to me then was a magician. And so he's big into, you create a perception of God, and his perception of God was not the God that he eventually loved, or the one that he rejected. So his life, his neck, like you said, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. He didn't have it. Life was not going to be positive in his early life at all. And he wasn't an overly he had a distorted thumb, and therefore when he went to boarding schools he couldn't play sports, so he was an outsider. Everything in boarding schools for boys was sports, so he was an outcast.
You don't need a thumb to play soccer.
Yeah, I know. But he would, I think
You're not supposed to touch it with your hands.
You probably didn't pass the physical.
And that's what they do a lot of it. Oh, okay, I don't.
I probably used it as an.
Yeah.
He was pretty intellectual. He wasn't.
Yeah.
He hid himself in the library.
He wasn't
That's
being
all he did.
athletic.
He had a sad life.
But there was a time in his life where he began to develop a sense of what he called joy. It was something in the background of life. You hear the echoes of this joy around you. You can never quite put your finger on it. You can never quite experience it fully, but it's a sense of longing.
Yeah.
That's it. It's a sense of, I know that there's something there. But I don't understand it, but it's going to make me fulfill my life someday.
And
he
this-
went on and said,
this
if
flower-
you lose this, you lose everything.
This little tin that his brother and Warnie made for him,
Yes.
that was his first sense of joy.
First
Interesting.
inkling.
Yes, that was his first.
So rudimentary. You'd
Yes.
think it would.
He said, what real nature could never do for me, this thing did. And then nature becomes a vehicle, but first it's this longing that he sensed when his brother brought that to him. And then he had, the second one was the mountains. And when he was in boarding school, and he would look at and he just longed to be there. And that longing is what he calls joy. And that's what he writes about, surprised by joy.
I never thought of joy as longing, but it
Yeah.
really is, isn't it?
Yes,
Mhm.
Interesting.
all right, the last one, here it is, I jumped ahead. Somebody read what he wrote about his second experience with joy.
So
Yes,
let's remember that Jack noted that there was absence of beauty in his childhood. Now some. Please read. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, every day there were of the Castlera hills, which we saw from the nursery windows. They were not very full. They taught me longing. Senju, that's
Senju,
German way of
yeah.
word. Made me for good or ill, and before I was 6 years old, poetry of the blue flower. That's in these readings. Read it again.
well, it's back to, here it is, it's this, you can't attain it. This little fake garden wasn't real, and it's a longing that for nature. That started, now here, these mountains. He longed to be there, but you can't get it, so it's out of your reach. I don't know why I didn't
What's the
explain.
votary
blue
of the
flower.
blue flower? I don't
Yeah.
get the illusion.
I don't even.
Blue flower, yeah, apparently was was an expression used in, I believe, primarily in German.
Yeah,
Where the blue flower was a symbol of this infinite joy and this infinite beauty. And it was just, to me, it was just a sense of more longing. You want
Yes.
this longing.
And votary,
I was just gonna ask it.
Devotee, follower.
Followers.
Yeah.
His order is follower,
Oh,
Votary.
maybe a fan.
yeah.
Fan of the blue
that's a-
flower.
that's a good-
What's the German word mean?
Yeah, Zen.
Sehnsucht, longing.
Longing.
yes,
Usually.
I'm right.
Longing.
There
made me
is a
for
good definition.
Of.
He was born in 1898,
Oh,
also
Yes,
in November.
yes.
really? And he died in November.
Yes,
Yeah,
Interesting.
born the 29th, he died the 22nd.
Let's see.
63.
65.
Yeah, so he's 65.
1898.
Blue flowers
So when he
generally.
was 29, he was in that- so when his mother died, it was like 1907.
Yeah, he was.
So there wasn't much you could do for cancer then either.
No. Did they know what cancer was in those years?
Oh, yeah,
Did they?
but usually it was a surgical, they
Yeah.
cut it out,
Yeah, yeah, they,
radiation.
Here is what it is, the blue flower, hope, longing, and the unattainable.
maybe, okay.
And
So
where does that illusion come from? Is it, I'm just not familiar with it.
it's German.
So I've got it here, the German novel, novelist, his unfinished novel,
Oh,
Heinrich von Hoffendingen, published posthumously in 1802. Sir Warrenberger. But in the story, the blue flower that trances him, inspires him to become a poet. Flower represents his quest for true love, poetry, and a deeper
Does it
understanding.
have a picture of the flower? Is there? No. It's too beautiful to
the
show.
Blaue Blume. Significant some.
And it's this is this thing about him. He had this longing, and he like when he, what term? The term of, he'll tell the year. I gave in and admitted that God was God. The most reluctant convert in all of England.
He was 29.
Yes, he was 29.
It was 1920.
Oh, 1929, but he was 29.
Well,
31.
He's born 1898, so.
Okay, 31. So, just as he brings it into these character books. And then, we'll be losing.
Uh-oh.
Chapters 1 and 2.
Now I have some of these
Uh-oh.
books from the last time. I have this one. I have that.
You have it?
Yes. I think it's.
Is I want it?
I have one.
Okay, that's okay. You
You-
can have one, Brian.
No. She has to.
So we'll do that. We'll read chapters 1 and 2.
Okay.
And then we'll have a study guide that will have quotes from theology.
And when was this published? It was in 58?
Here's the
So this
interesting-
before the books you,
Yes, this is,
why do you call it Jack?
he said, my friends call me Jack. And so once I read that,
Yeah, we got in the habit.
he called, when,
What should we call you?
Well, we weren't on the first name basis.
Oh, that's cute.
I always called him Clive.
Clive.
Yeah, see, Clive Stevens.
Clive,
I like Jack better.
Yes.
CS stands for Clive.
Clive Staples, yes. I'm trying to, I have, the stories were written, the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe was written first. Then Prince Caspian was written.
Mhm.
And then, I had that and I can't find it on my iPad. So first was Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, Caspian.
Oh, there's one before this.
There's, okay, then there's, Horse and His Boy.
So there's 5 books to the.
There's 7,
7.
Open the Chronicles.
and this. Okay, so it's horse, I'm trying to remember, does it tell them? Oh,
No, I don't think that's the order.
yeah,
No.
this is how they, right, so it was Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Prince Caspian. Horse and His Boy. Must have been Silver Chair, cause Voyage of Don Treader, if it says 5, the last 2 are, The Last Battle and The Magician's Nephew. Because The Last Battle is the end of it, and The Magician's Nephew, which either it was the last
That's
one.
in the book 1.
Yeah, but that's in the sequence. That's how Narnia started.
Oh,
But this is, I
He
saw,
didn't write it in that.
he didn't write it in this order.
oh,
He wrote, quick, do a search on order written of the Chronicles of Narnia. I had it on a PowerPoint. Very.
well, here, yes, okay, so the first was The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe in 50.
Yes,
Then Prince Caspian in 51. The Voyage of the Dawn Trader in 52. The
so then it's the third.
Silver Chair is 53. The Horse and His Boy 54. Magician's Nephew 55. And The Last Battle 56.
Okay.
So the Voyage of the Dawn Trader is 52, number 3.
The third one he wrote.
Yeah, the third one he wrote.
Well, why does this, well, never mind.
And you
Well,
see, what is the fifth in this
Oh,
the
okay,
chronology of the
Okay.
story,
okay,
like this.
all right.
So Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Oh, I see. So the last 2 books are really the beginning and the end.
Yes,
So he started in the middle.
yes.
I
And
did
then he.
And then he did a prequel
Became the Magician's Nephew,
with the Lion,
the Lion, the Witch,
which is
and
the second
Wardrobe.
book. So he writes one prequel.
Huh.
As far as the Dawn Treader is concerned, I think it's impossible. Many people think it's impossible to write a story without injecting some of your own life and some of your own
to us. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Thanks. You sick?
Yeah. Are you?
Thanks, guy. Turn it off,
I don't know.
the record something.
Oh, you set it up.
Yes, my laptop.
Welcome back.
Yes, I got.
I'm going to.